So if you watched any of my other videos, then you know how much of a scam I think college is, right? Outside of the four major programs, STEM, it's one of the biggest scams out there, right? And most people don't really need to go to college. Yet many people continue to enroll, and rack up tens of thousands of dollars of debt, with no hopes of ever paying it back. And so in this video, I'm gonna share with you a few people that they're going to share their experience in the fact that they're coming to the realization that they're never going to pay back these student loans, right? Because let's be real, like you go to college, you take all these loans and you get into a field that probably is not going to make you any money when you graduate, and it makes it almost impossible to ever pay back those student loans unless you're very frugal and you're very good with your money. But it's going to take a very long time, and I think a lot of people are realizing it's going to take forever to ever pay back these loans. So I'm gonna let these video runs, and then I'll share my thoughts.
In honor of me graduating college this week, I was like, you know what? We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off. We're gonna check our student loan debt. And I kind of at a ballpark range, like I knew how much I owed, not down to like the exact dollar amount. I'm the type of person who gets nervous to check their bank account after a weekend out. So I took a look. I took a hard gander at exactly how much money I owe. I'm gonna die with it. Like I can confidently say there wasn't even like a panic. It was just like my heart sank to my ass. I'm gonna die with it. Like I don't know any way I'm gonna be able to pay that off other than selling my organs on the black market. This is why I don't understand why people shit on sugar babies, because like I could get this all paid off tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, but you know what I mean, like within the year. If I just found a rich man and everyone's like, patriarchy, don't work for them. Ask not what you can do for the patriarchy, but what the patriarchy can do for you. If it benefits me, then maybe it's not the patriarchy, maybe it's just a helping hand.
See, that's crazy, right? A lot of these women were sold the idea that, you know what, go get educated, go get a job and, be independent and do for yourself, right? And now you see a lot, because what, 2/3 of the student debt is like held by women, right? Most of the student debt is held by women, right? Because they've been sold this idea that, go do for yourself, be independent, and don't worry about, getting married or starting a family. Focus on yourself, get educated, and get that job. And now you see a whole bunch of women racking up the student debt and with no hopes of ever paying it back. And that's just them setting you up to fail, right? They want you to get put into the system. They want all the women getting into that workforce, having to work, focus on their career instead of actually raising a family, and just so they can collect tax revenue, right? Government wants to find ways to collect more money from the people, right? Make sure that you're enslaved to the system, that you never get out the system, right? Because look at her, she's talking about focusing on finding a sugar baby when she should be talking about finding find a husband, right? She's like, let me find a sugar baby so I can pay this all off. Like that's just a wrong mindset. You should be like, okay, I should be finding a husband to actually help me build this stuff and to help me, manage my finances. But it's like, let me find a sugar baby to just pay all this off. It's like the mentality is all off. Right? And that's how they just being set up to fail. Push you into the system, go get educated. And there's nothing wrong with getting educated, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We want, a society that's educated. However, when that is the main focus, and you're going out here and getting master's degrees, PhDs, and you're racking up a whole bunch of debt, like that's just not how you're going to build wealth long term. Right. And it's gonna hurt you finding a partner long term as well, because like a lot of dudes are gonna be like, yo, why would I want to get with someone that has that much debt? Right. So it's just just a way to set you up, keep you slave to the system, so you're always working, so they can make sure that they collect tax revenue, because the government ain't got no money, right? They broke, they don't have any money, so they got to find ways to collect money from you. And a lot of people realizing they're going to die with this debt, right? Never with no means of ever paying it off, unless they find ways to increase their income somehow and be very good with their money. But most people out here, struggling and don't have that financial discipline. So it's interesting to hear her say it that way. Let me go find a sugar daddy instead of like, find me a husband. But that just shows you like the mentality of a lot of people, especially in the United States.
Finally did it. I finally made my first student loan payment, and I was late on it, but I paid it. And then I just was doing the math, because I was like, oh, it tells you like how long you're gonna have to pay set amount for a certain amount of months.
Her nails are crazy long, yo. Like, look at them. These are like claws, man. Look at these nails. They're so long and like sharp. Jesus Christ. All right, continue.
Months. It's like over 100 months, and I was like, that's crazy. I wonder how many years that is, because I failed remedial math like 3 times as an adult. There was a reason I was a 5th year. Almost 10 years. Almost a decade Oh, God. The worst part? That's only one company. I gotta call another. And I think the other one has more, which... Loan forgiveness, if you can hear us now, please, please save us. You know what? I feel good about the fact that I'm paying it, so one day, if I live that long and the earth is still standing, I will be able to say that I paid for my college. That's kind of baller, right? I have to look at some positive here. We got to switch the perspective. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do for rent this month. Might have to eat pretzels and dust for dinner for the next couple weeks. But you know what? Where there's a Willis, there's a way. Skinny. Oh, God.
Kudos for, taking responsibility for, paying your own student debt, right? That is your responsibility. As hard as it may be, that is your responsibility. But it's crazy to me that, like, I remember when I went to college, and I was able to, like, for the first 4 years, for my undergrad years, I was able to get it for free for the scholarships. But I remember talking about, as when I graduated, going for get my master's degree, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. All the money I looked at all the amount of money that would cost to go to get my graduate degree, and I was just like, nah, I don't even like school like that. I struggled in school, so there's no point in me doing that. And I looked at the math, and I was like, yeah, I really won't be spending all that money just to get my master's degree. So I was just like, yes, I don't think it's worth it. But it's crazy that a lot of people are going out there and racking up all this student debt. Like do you not see the amount of money that it costs to get these degrees, right? Like, and it's getting to a point where, obviously, you're 18 years old. You're not really thinking about it like that. Just like, all right, I want to go to college. Like, the fear of just missing out on college, like, that's more worth it than having to worry about all that student debt that you're going to have to pay. So it's almost like they just don't think about it. It's just like, I'll worry about that after I graduate. When in reality, you should be worrying about that right at that when you decide to go to college. But I think for a lot of young kids, they're just like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about that, and they just rack up all this student debt without even thinking about the long-term consequences of, like, all right, how am I gonna pay this back, right? Maybe you're young, you're like, you know what, I'll be able to get a job and then I'll pay it back. So I think maybe that's the thought process. But once you graduate, you're like, yo, I'm never gonna pay this back. Like, what my job, the amount of money I'm making now is just not gonna allow me to do that. Okay. And for a lot of people, like, they'll be on these loan forgiveness programs, or they'll be in these low income joints where they're just paying like the bare minimum without actually covering interest, and interest is accumulating every year, every month, every year, and they find out years later that the loan balances continue to increase because they know that these little minimum payments are not covering the interest payments. So a lot of people just getting caught up in this trap. And for me, like I said, student loan is just a scam, right? Outside of the 4 major programs, it's just a scam, and most people are just not financially literate to really understand that the consequences of going to college, right? So I got one more video for you guys. Which one is it?
I was just sitting here contemplating about like how I'm going to pay back all my student loans, because still have not devised a plan that's going to work for me yet. Because I was thinking, you know how like there's the SAVE plan, it's like the income-based repayment plan or whatever. So I signed up for that with my old job, not the one I have now, but with my old job, based on my income that I had then, my payment was going to be like $40 a month, which I was like, hell yeah, now I can actually like afford to pay on this for the rest of my life. Like, it'll be fine. Then I realized like that's not even going to cut into like the interest that this shit's going to accrue. So like, are they just trying to keep this over my head for the rest of my life? Like, why not just give me a job that can pay me enough to pay this? You know, like, why do we have to have all these SAVE plans and income?
Because the government is broke. They need money, right? Like, if they can't get it from you, where are they going to get it from, right? They got to find ways to collect taxes so they could, do their nonsense that they're doing with it anyways, right? They need money from somewhere. So, the whole student loan debt program is a great tax revenue base for the government, making sure that they get so many people in there collecting student debt so they can collect taxes, because they got no money. Look at it. Well, government has no money. Either they're going to collect it from taxes and steal it from the people, or they're going to print the money, right? Government has no money. So that obviously is just a scam. This is a system to collect taxes, to make sure that you're debt to the system, that you're constantly working, enslaving, being a slave, so you have zero freedom for yourself. So let's let her finish up.
Based tuition repayment, like, just make college cheaper. Like, why do we have to come up with all these government-funded programs that cut into tax dollars, and that's going to keep me in debt for the rest of my life? Like, that doesn't sound like a good solution to me. But, like, Yeah, either pay more or make college cheaper. It's pretty fucking simple.
Nah, they don't want to do that. They don't want to make it cheaper. You know? Because the reason why it's expensive is because of government, right? They're in bed with the institutions, making everything more expensive, making it so that you never get out the system, that you stay stuck, right? That you're constantly working at a job that you don't like, right? Because that's what it is. Like, debt just makes you a slave to the system, that you have zero freedom, that in order to make sure that you can live the way you want to live, you have to constantly work so you can pay your bills, right? And you're just stuck in that rat race. Right, and it's until you realize that this the way the system is, that you get out of debt, you become debt free, where you find a little bit of freedom for yourself, where you have a lot of freedom to do the things that you want to do. But obviously, for a lot of people, they don't realize that until it's too late, right? And this is their plan, right? To make sure that they promote education, which education is good, but you gotta make sure you get the right education. But they promote education, be educated. You want to get a high paying job, you got to go to school and get a college degree, and we all know that's a lie, right? Like, it's all nonsense, right? Like that's what they sell you. But then people get into these colleges and they take the wrong degrees, they major in the wrong things, where they're not gonna make any money when they get out of college, and then they're stuck and they're trapped. Right, and we live in a society where we're all individuals. We're all doing it by ourselves. We're trying to do everything ourselves, and that's also a wrong way to build wealth, right? And that's just the reality of it. But it's not until you realize that and you get rid of all the debt where you find there's a little bit more freedom for yourself. But for a lot of people, they come to that realization they're never going to pay off this debt, right? Unless they find a way to increase their income exponentially, and it's hard to do that with a regular 9-to-5 job. And you got to manage your money very properly. You got to be very disciplined. But most people are like, you know what? I have this short life to live, and I want to focus on experience. So what do? They take the job, they take the money that they do have, and they go travel, and they just don't worry about eliminating debt or getting rid of the things that are holding them back from building that life that they want. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. Right, guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.